The 1.1 CRDI engine with the code D3FA was first presented by Hyundai in 2005. The engine was used in two generations of the Hyundai i10 and the i20, as well as in the Kia Picanto and Rio in certain model years. The first version was manufactured up to 2010, and then the engine switched to the Euro 5 emission standards with some serious modifications like a lower compression ratio, higher fuel pressure, and also a simple turbocharger without variable geometry. So basically in 2011 this engine became a little more reliable, but still both Euro 4 and Euro 5 versions have their own common problems. First of all, this is a 3-cylinder engine that was initially made from the 1.5-liter D4 FA. They basically just cut one cylinder from the engine and get a tiny diesel machine for smaller cars. Now, the good thing is that the engine is very simple. It has reliable Bosch common rail injection system, and there are hydraulic lifters, so no need to adjust the valve clearance. Also, the fuel consumption is very optimistic. Even though the 75 horsepower rating doesn't seem great, the engine offers up to 180 Newton meters of torque, which is a lot for the tiny cars it was used in. So the engine doesn't feel extremely underpowered in the city traffic, but on highways it doesn't give you proper flexibility. One of the common problems is the chain. It is claimed to last the entire lifespan of the engine, but in real life it starts rattling heavily at 60,000 miles or 100,000 kilometers and needs replacement. Fortunately, it's not very expensive and it won't need a lot of labor hours, but look at the chain. It's just a bicycle chain, and it's not a surprise that it's elongated that fast. There are two chains and they both need to be replaced along with the tensioners and guides to avoid chain jumping. Also, one of the most common issues with these engines is the complicated intake system. It has a variable geometry flap in the intake manifold, and this flap gets covered by carbon buildup very fast. This leads to power loss, warning lights on the dashboard, and quite an unpleasant repair. Once every 30,000 miles or 50,000 kilometers, owners usually clean this system. After 100,000 kilometers, the EGR valve joins the cleaning routine and needs regular maintenance, which is not cheap, unfortunately. If you have a problem with fuel pressure and get the pressure codes, the most likely culprit is the cheap rail pressure sensor. The pump and injectors are very reliable here. Among common minor issues, I would pay attention to oil leaks that require head cover gasket replacement now and then. Also, crankshaft position sensors don't seem to last long, but they very often may just be cleaned without replacement. And there are problems with the crankcase ventilation system, which leads to an internal oil leak to the intake manifold. The PCV needs to be replaced quite often in the first versions of these engines up to model year 2011. So basically these are quite good and simple little engines that can last up to 200,000 miles or 300,000 kilometers with good service. You need to pay attention to potential common issues and prevent them because any serious fault may easily kill the engine prematurely. And still, I would say it's a good engine, belonging to the golden generation of automotive technologies when manufacturers try to make something long-lasting and efficient.